AI agents are finally here. And if you've been watching with me long enough, you know that I've been teasing it, I've been previewing it and saying that they're not here for months now. But today's the day. They are finally on the scene and ready to be used by the average marketer out there. And that's what we're going to be covering in today's segment of Bot Bros, the segment of the AI driven marketer, where we uncover the help from the hype. I'm Dan Sanchez, and I'm usually covering the news with my brother Travis Sanchez for Bot Bros. But Travis is on vacation because it's July, summertime, and he's out camping. So hope you're having fun, bro. But today I got you. So I have a number of different news items because I was on vacation last week, and we have 2 weeks worth of news to uncover that marketers need to know in order to stay up to date with AI. And the biggest one by far is ChatGPT's new announcement. It just came out yesterday. It is hot off the press. I don't even have access to this tool yet because they've delayed this tool coming to Plus users like myself until Monday. So in a couple of days, I'll have access. I'll be able to preview it and get my hands in it to tell you more about it. But even with just the previews, I promise this is the moment. This is the moment we've been waiting for AI agents to become accessible enough for us mere marketers to actually be able to leverage in really creative and interesting ways. Now, again, I've been talking about this for months now, ever since the language of agents came up last fall. It's been mostly hype since then. And there have been some little things here and there. Deep Research, the tool from ChatGPT, was a really good preview of something that worked really well. It was very agentic in that it would do a lot of different things on our behalves and think through it and go and search and think through it and do some search and bring back a report. Very cool. But this one's different. And it's essentially a combination of 3 tools that ChatGPT already had, and they've combined them in the most interesting way in order for it to be really helpful to us. So let me explain. It is a combination of their deep research tool, which a lot of us already know and love and have been using. It has O3 attached to it, which is their most advanced reasoning model available to us right now. And of course, if you're a pro user, you have access to O3 Pro, which is just like an extended version of that model. And it's a combination of their tool called Operator, which you only had access to if you were on a pro account. But it's essentially Operator, since that's the least familiar to most marketers. Operator was a tool where you could give it a task to go and do something. It would open up a virtual web browser and then go and navigate the web on your behalf. So you could have it go and book airline tickets for you, or book restaurant reservations, or go and do things, whatever you would do on the web, it could do for you. It was a little clunky. It was kind of a preview. It would often need to go check back in with you when it needed something. And honestly, like, it wasn't that helpful of a tool because it just needed to be handheld so much. And it was honestly, that tool was run by its 4.0 model, which wasn't a reasoning model, so it would get stuck often. And it was more time than it was worth. Even though it was a good preview of their agents to come, it was just that, a preview. But now they've combined all 3 of those tools, Deep Research, O3, and this Operator model, into one consolidated tool. So now this agent tool can essentially think, it can do research, and it can take action. Ooh. And it has access to different tools that you can connect to ChatGPT now, like your Google Calendar, like it can fill out forms on websites. It can take actions. It can actually do whatever you do on a browser, it can do on your behalf now, which opens up a massive range of possibilities. And I think that's going to be the exciting thing. Right now, it's like, oh my gosh, it could do a lot of different stuff. What are we supposed to think about this as marketers? And I think that's the exciting thing, is this is new. This is early, really early. So if you're listening to this and thinking like, oh my gosh, I haven't even really figured out prompting yet. What am I supposed to do? Don't worry. It's still early. I don't have access yet. Most of us don't. In the next couple of weeks, it'll still be early. Even a month from now, it'll still be early, because again, this is the first big step that we're taking as an industry into a whole new way of working. In the future, it will be you and a whole team of agents getting your job done. Instead of just being an individual contributor, even people on the front lines will essentially be managers of AI teams. And I know that sounds so weird to think of yourself as a manager of a whole AI team, but I promise this is the reality that's coming in the future. And I know it sounds hypey, but I'm trying to prepare you for what I think is like inevitably going to come. And this agent feature is just an early preview of what's coming. Even how I've been using personally this last few months in helping me accomplish a number of different sophisticated tasks. Like I mentioned in the last episode that I did of Bot Bros, where my brother Travis and I talked about just practical ways we're using AI. One of the ways I mentioned in that last episode was how I used it to figure out how to get it wasn't an emergency passport. It was like a expedited passport. I had to drive into Atlanta to get a passport. It was a hard process. And I don't think I would have been able to do it without ChatGPT, because you had to like log in at midnight and be there right in the moment. As soon as the midnight clock struck, you had to be there to log in and like book an appointment. If I didn't know that, which is not listed on the government's website, like ChatGPT had to go figure out that information from Reddit, which I never would have thought of to go check. I would have been able to get my passport to go on the vacation that I just went on. So I'm looking at the usefulness and the ways that I'm using ChatGPT now to figure out all kinds of problems. And I'm like, my gosh, it has changed so much just within 1 year of how much I use AI to accomplish all kinds of things in my life, that I can't imagine what it's going to be like next year. Well, I guess I can't imagine, because I can imagine having a whole team of AI agents doing work on my behalf. And we're going to start getting a preview of it this summer. By the time this fall comes around, it'll start maturing, because of course the early versions of something that comes out are usually pretty rough. OpenAI doesn't know all the roadblocks people run into or the security problems it'll create. So it'll be rough. It'll be held back a little bit, but over the next year, they'll improve it in a bunch of little micro ways. It'll say, oh, well, now we've added this tool. Oh, now you can schedule it to happen. Every Monday, you can have an agent go and do X, Y, and Z for you. And you can open it up to your CRM and have very secure access for it in all kinds of different ways in order to do a lot of our work. And that's why I'm excited about this thing. Currently, the ChatGPT agent can do quite a few things. Of course, it can do the deep research thing and go find information, but it can actually take action across a few major different things. Obviously, it can take action across a lot of things if it has access to a browser, if it has your login credentials. I don't recommend giving it your login credentials for things yet, but there are secure apps that it can connect to, like your calendar, for it to go check things. But other than that, it can access and build spreadsheets, basic spreadsheets natively in ChatGPT, which you can then one-click load into like a Google Sheet with formulas preloaded. If you wanted to go and do research and then actually do math across some fields, maybe you're collecting information and doing math to calculate things, it can do that for you. It can build basic presentations that can then be one-click loaded into something like a 365 PowerPoint. That's kind of cool. All of a sudden, it's able to actually not only do research, but take the actions that normally we would have to take and just copying and pasting from ChatGPT over to something like Google Sheets or Excel in order to finish our final destination, which was create a report in Excel. Before, we could have ChatGPT do some research and pull it into Excel, but that would take time to just copy and paste it. But now it can do that too. So you can see the more things we add to it, the more capabilities we give to it, the more work that it can actually handle, the more the busy work that can actually take place. In the previews that I've seen, and I'll link to a demo video in the show notes, so go look for that demo video there, the OpenAI ChatGPT agent demos. There's a bunch of different demo videos. I'll just link to them all individually. You can start to get an idea of what this thing's capable of. It's very exciting. In one example, they give it a prompt that says, hey, here's a photo of our company mascot. It's like a photo of someone's dog that they brought into the office. And I think they're just like, hey, this is the company mascot. Take this photo of this puppy and turn it into a sticker and add it and order some stickers for us. We want like 3,000 stickers. I love Sticker Mule. And so it did the work of course, as image generator as a tool built into it. So it turned it into this cute little sticker and then uploaded that image to Sticker Mule, created an account, created the order, and then got so far to create the order checkout page for the user then to go and just do the final thing of putting in the credit card information and checking out. That's a lot of steps. of creating the image to create a sticker in this like little anime version of the puppy that the image they had uploaded, which is cool. And then going and finding the right thing to buy on Sticker Mule, actually walking through the checkout process and getting it ready to buy. That's a number of steps to take. But that kind of gives you an example of how when you give it all these different tools, it can now work across these tools in order to accomplish more sophisticated tasks. And that's exciting. But the main thing I wanted to cover is like this agent thing is ushering in a new era of AI. We're in kind of like a pre-era right now where prompting's kind of the main thing. But I'm telling you, prompting like will become more intuitive, and prompt engineering as a term will kind of go away for the most part, and it'll just be about delegating. That's my prediction, that delegating will be the next meta skill that we will all need as marketers in order to better manage our AI teams, because AI will become more and more competent and actually be able to stand in for what we would have delegated to a team or what we would have had to do ourselves. So learning how to delegate properly to AI will be a skill in and of itself. And this will be the most valuable skill that we can have in the future, because there will be things that AI can't do well and things that it can exceed at. So learning how to delegate in such a way to make the most of what it can do and make up for the things that it can't do well is the skill. I remember when it brings me back to the time when I was reading the book, The 4 Hour Work Week. And Tim Ferriss outlined in that book how to delegate to virtual assistants, often very inexpensive assistants that you could hire from places like the Philippines or Thailand or other places like that. And he outlined very carefully, because these were people that could speak English, but generally not as a first language. So you had to be very clear in your instructions. And I'm like, man, the systems that he broke down in that book are the exact same way of thinking that we need to start thinking about as marketers. And I might review that book and create a whole episode just on the art of delegating to AI, because it's something I've gotten better at. But as I start to play with the agent, I promise I will bring an episode about the art of delegating to AI agents, specifically within ChatGPT, based on the principles that Tim Ferriss laid down in his book, The 4 Hour Work Week, because he talks about how to create clear step-by-step instructions, giving examples, right? Something we're already doing in ChatGPT a lot, but also how to create decision trees of how to think through the problem so that you can create consistency in how your AI or how your virtual assistants from the book could execute the tasks regularly. These are the meta skills that Tim Ferriss had to figure out in order to get down to a 4 hour work week. And I'm not saying you need to work 4 hours a week or that should be your goal. If it is, then now's a good time to be alive. But otherwise, you can get a lot more work done by learning how to delegate it and automate it with a team of AI agents. And now that's actually possible because of tools like this. So that was a big news this week. Stay tuned for more updates coming from me on ChatGPT Agent. We're going to be talking a lot about this for the next year. A lot. This is going to be a major item on the show because this is where AI really starts to pull ahead, or people who know how to leverage these tools are really going to start to accelerate in their productivity because AI agents can take on so much more work now. Otherwise, in the news, we had Perplexity that launched a new browser, an AI first browser called Comet. Now, you need to be part of Perplexity's they're like high end paid tier. It's like $200, $300 a month or something like that. So only a few people have access to this. But based on the overviews that I've seen, is that it's a very helpful browser. It actually changes the way you browse and interact with the internet, having an AI agent kind of built into it at all times. It's not an agent like ChatGPT's agent where it could take action based on what you're giving it yet, but it has so much more context based on what you're currently seeing in your browser that it's able to do a number of different tasks just more quickly and becomes more intuitive to have a kind of a co-pilot interacting with you on any single web page that you're on, since it has the full context of what you're looking at all times, the full page. So that's kind of an interesting tool. And I kind of feel like that's probably going to be a normal thing. I wouldn't be surprised at all if OpenAI launches their own browser and if Grok launches their own browser to kind of have a similar tool, because it just makes sense that as AI becomes a bigger co-pilot, a bigger part of how we work, that we're going to want to give it access to what we're seeing to be able to interact with it all the time. Now imagine if you've seen Iron Man with Jarvis and how like Tony Stark is interacting with the AI agent. He's just talking to it and Jarvis always has context of what he's looking at or what he's talking about. That's kind of where we're going, is to have this Jarvis like thing interacting with, and it kind of knows what our schedule is, what our tools are, what the data is, and it's almost like this assistant that's there to help us at any time, at any moment. A browser is kind of a next practical step. So while Perplexity has launched this and it's kind of a preview that most of us aren't going to pay or have access to, it is an interesting signpost of a next step that I bet I'm expecting this fall. We'll probably see more things like this coming out soon. And lastly, in the news, another big announcement happened last week from XAI, which is Elon Musk's AI company tied in with X.com and Tesla and all that kind of stuff. Launched their most recent version of AI called Grok 4. Very powerful model. You have to be a paid version of Grok, which is their ChatGPT, in order to have access to this. So I've not gotten access to this one, but I only pay for ChatGPT because I also have a Social Media Examiner account for Claude, so I'm paying attention more to those two. There's only so much time and money to spend on all these AI tools, but I do pay attention to the frontier models. XAI is absolutely a model on the cutting edge, and this is one of the best models on there right now. And I think Grok has gotten to a point where it's like, if anybody's tired of ChatGPT or they don't like OpenAI for some reason, like, XAI has gotten really good. Grok has become a very competent tool in a lot of different ways across a lot of different modalities, from voice and image generation. They don't have a video feature yet, but I'm sure they will soon. And now their model is top notch, probably rivaling ChatGPT's now. Now we're going to get ChatGPT 5 probably any day, any week now. I imagine it'll come within the next couple of weeks, but we'll see. But it is notable that Grok has a very powerful model now. So if you're not an OpenAI person, you should probably check out Grok. It's become a very great tool. I use it occasionally when ChatGPT's down, or just to test it. I stay up to date with what's going on in Grok, and even the version 3 model has been very, very impressive as a model. I'm still a ChatGPT guy, but honestly, the strides that Grok's making, it's tempting. It's tempting to move over. I haven't yet, but it could happen within the next couple of months. We'll see. The sponsor of this episode, of course, is HighLevel. And I wanted to share an interesting way that I'm using HighLevel. It actually has a pretty robust social media scheduling tool. Social media scheduling tools are kind of a dime a dozen. It's pretty robust, and it's in HighLevel. But an interesting way I'm using it now is actually in conjunction with a custom GPT that I made, where I literally just dictate in. I made this custom GPT, and I'm building this to give away to y'all really soon. Because I think it's just so helpful that I'm like, I think I need to give this away. So stay tuned. Again, lots of previews in today, but I will be releasing a downloadable or a usable custom GPT, where essentially you can just dictate an idea, a unique idea you had, like, hey, what if we did things this way? And it will turn that idea into 3 unique LinkedIn posts. I was doing it primarily to just quickly take a raw idea, a really good insight that I had. And instead of taking the time to think about how to format it with the hook and the body and the close, I was just giving it to ChatGPT to write for me, but not based on something like, hey, write me a LinkedIn post about X. I was like, no, here's the idea that I want you to then repurpose into some well-polished LinkedIn post, because I have a certain style in the way I approach LinkedIn posts. So it would then give me 3 different options to pick. I would pick one and schedule it, until a friend of mine, Ken Frere, was like, hey, you're taking all 3 and scheduling all 3, right? Like 1 now and then 2 later. I was like, oh, maybe I should have been doing this all along. So now I'm actually taking my favorite one, posting it right away, and then scheduling the other 2 later to be scheduled a week or 3 weeks, 4 weeks from now, so that I have more content. Because oftentimes, if you have a good idea, you probably want to share it more than once, right? That's kind of a good thing. But you need to share it in different ways. But ChatGPT can take your raw idea and turn it into 3 different types of posts. And that's what this custom GPT does for me. And then I use HighLevel to schedule them out. I used to schedule them natively on LinkedIn, but the problem is if you start scheduling things out too far on LinkedIn, it becomes confusing about what's being posted when. It's nice to have the little calendar feature like I do in HighLevel to be able to see what is being posted when, so that I can actually schedule them appropriately and I don't have too many posts being scheduled in one day. So that's an interesting way I'm using HighLevel. But thank you to HighLevel for being the sponsor of this channel. Moving on, we have a poll. I launched a poll before I went on vacation about how often people are using AI in a meaningful way. That was the question. The answers for the poll were multiple times a day, daily, weekly, rarely, or never. And these were results. In my LinkedIn following, I was surprised that 58% of people following me on LinkedIn said they're using AI in a meaningful way multiple times a day. 25% said daily, 9% said weekly, and 8% said rarely or never. So it is increasing. More and more people are using it often. In fact, I predicted before this year, before 2025 started, in fact, I even think I made this prediction even a year from now. I gave two qualifications a year ago that if Apple, but this was early summer because I predicted, I'm like, if Apple introduces AI into their stuff, and if ChatGPT or other AI companies can figure out how to incorporate reasoning into their models, then ChatGPT will cross the chasm, as in the early majority of society, at least in marketing, will be using AI in a meaningful way on a daily basis. And we are well on our way, for at least marketers, for AI to have crossed the chasm. Most marketers are, by the end of this year, going to be using AI in a meaningful way on a daily basis. Right now, I'd say more than half of marketers are just now like getting there. So it is still very, very early. If you're listening to the show, you are, believe it or not, I know you feel like you're behind because I've talked to a lot of you, but you were not behind. You were very early. Congratulations. You were on the forefront of this thing. Even if you only started digging in deeply within the last couple of months, that's okay. You were still really early. Remember, social media started like in 2024, and it didn't really start picking up until 2010, maybe, like where it really started to pick up steam. I know because I was in marketing and I remember watching some of the early, even we called it e-marketing back in 2006. And we were using MySpace to do marketing. And then it really started picking up in like 2010, 2011 is when social media marketing, even Social Media Examiner hadn't launched until like 2010, I think. So we are early days in AI. And I know it's like there's so much hype that it feels like you're so far behind, but you're not. It is really early. But most marketers, I'd say over half of marketers, will probably be using it in a meaningful way on a daily basis by the end of the year, this year. The other half will catch up, of course, will be the late majority and the laggards on the back end. So it's good to keep in touch with where other people are at with that. And to close this episode, we had a viral post that I want to review today. Not so viral, but it was still a really great post from Marcus Sheridan, who's an OG of content marketing. And he posted on LinkedIn, if any AI adoption were a pie chart, here's what it would look like. This is from Marcus Sheridan. He said roughly 95% of AI users today treat it like a glorified Google, just another search engine that can write stuff, ask a question, get an answer, say it better or faster, then move on. About 5% use it like a true collaborator. They brainstorm with it, edit it, solve problems with it. It's an anything assistant in their life. And because of that, they are seeing their productivity soar. And then less than 1% use it as a creator. They're building tools with true utility, vibe coding all the time, designing workflows, automating what used to take hours, surprising themselves every day with what's possible. My point, we're dang early because part of the 1%, become part of the 1% as quickly as you can. And I liked this post. It was actually only posted a few days ago, but it's I know it's been well received. I've even shared it on LinkedIn. It is a true reminder of how early it really is. Dig into it, learn how to use these tools. Don't be part of the 95% just using ChatGPT as Google. Learn how to use it as a collaborator, to learn how to really use it to be a collaborator and even get into 1% to be a creator. Go check out my free course on how to use ChatGPT in order to build custom GPTs. This is the big step that most people don't take. But if you can learn how to build this, you got to be a plus user. You got to actually put some money in the game. $20 a month, I promise, the best thing you could pay for this year. Go check out my course. Go to danchez.com/course and you will find a list of my courses. It's a free AI one. It's right on top of the page. Go and take it. Register for the course for free. It's a 5-day video course. You will not regret it. While I call it the AI fundamentals course, it is. I've had enough people take it now. They're like, Dan, this isn't fundamentals. Okay, man. This is an advanced course. So just so you know, if you think you're beyond the fundamentals, go and take this course. It's actually more advanced than you would think. I'm going to be updating this course probably in a month or two. We'll see. We'll see when I get to updating it. I'm kind of waiting for ChatGPT 5 to drop before I update it because I don't want to update it and then that kind of ruins everything. So I'll update it once ChatGPT 5 hits the scene. But I'll be updating it so everybody if you sign up for it now, take it now because it's really helpful now. But as soon as it updates, I'll be sending out an email with the updated material as soon as that launches too. So thank you for listening today. Stay tuned for the next episode.